what is clear is that disaster management and the theme of this conference, referring to the 5 Ps, as it was stated: people, the planet, prosperity, purpose, and partnership, are all elements that are valued for disaster risk management and for building resilience. Eh? Disaster management is all about the planet, the impact of climate change, and how that can exacerbate disasters, especially in the Caribbean, where the hurricanes and the rainfall events are becoming more frequent, they are more intense, and they're causing greater shocks and impacting people, which is the other P of the conference, greatly. Yeah? And so having those 5 Ps together, which are also critical for the tourism sector, and look taking the disaster management lens to those 5 areas is genius, because both areas intersect. There is that nexus between disaster management and prosperity and sustainable development for tourism, especially in this region where tourism is so reliant on nature, heavily reliant on nature. So if we're not able to put in place plans for and strategies and policies for effective disaster management, then it's obvious that the tourism product will suffer. The tourism product, the physical tourism product, and of course the people whose livelihoods depend on said product.
Tell us about the importance of sort of interagency type of collaboration in terms of dealing with disaster management in the Caribbean. You mentioned your work with CDEMA, but also there's a public health agency in Trinidad, CARFA, which also has helped to manage, the COVID pandemic, which is another disaster which impacted not just life in the Caribbean but also the tourism sector. How are you collaborating with different partners on this particular issue?
Good. So as you know, all these agencies are CARICOM agencies, or sister agencies of CARICOM, CIMH, who I presented alongside with, and CARFA, and of course. So what CDEMA does, CDEMA really coordinates disaster management in the region. And in the event, during COVID, and in the event of a disaster, we have what is called a partners meeting, and CDEMA will bring all the partners together, and the coordination takes place. The agency brings together all the stakeholders, local and regional stakeholders, as well as international humanitarian agencies. During COVID, we had weekly meetings. At the first sign of a hurricane or a storm coming to our shores, we start to convene these meetings. We try to find out where are the assets in the event that Grenada is in the path of a storm or a hurricane. And at these, what we call the CDPG meetings, which is the Caribbean Development Partners Group meeting, we begin to strategize and to have things in place for prepare for the impact as time go by. We do it for Haiti. After impact, what CDEMA does again is to call upon the partner agencies, whether it's international or regional, and we send the resources that are needed. These resources sometimes are physical assets, it could be food, it could be cots, but sometimes it is technical assistance. Where after the earthquake in Haiti, we sent in architects and engineers to assess, to help with the assessment of buildings, and soldiers for security. So whatever the need is, SEDEMA coordinates, and because of the CARICOM mandate that it has, it is able to pull in all the resources from other agencies in the Caribbean,
At,
regional and international.
at the level of civil society, with the hurricane season about to open in another month or so, what are your thoughts as it relates to the preparedness of Caribbean people generally as we go through the next several months? Um, you know, you know, bolstering and preparing ourselves for potential hurricane activity?
So, two things that we, sorry, thanks for your question again, and two things that we do generally all year round. At the level of the disaster offices in countries, CDEMA is in constant contact with the disaster managers and their ministers. And when we have what is called blue skies, when there's not much happening on the scene in terms of a major disaster, we conduct trainings, we prepare our officers and their cadre of professionals to get ready not just for hurricane season, but any all other disasters. So we prepare for search and rescues. We do training for post disaster needs assessment, which is something you'll need to do after if your country is impacted. But also we create experts so that if one country in the region is impacted, but they don't have the skill set that other this person could be deployed to support another state. So we have this coordination that takes place through CDEMA. But to your question earlier as well, the other thing that we do to ensure that some of this disaster management and preparation filters down from the country level to the sectorial level, for example, with in the tourism sector. SIDEMA has what is called a tourism sector subcommittee, where we work with agent organizations like CTO to meet with the private sector and civil society to inform them more about what disaster risk management is all about. And so that's how we take it outside of the halls of the regional organization and to filter it down to the national and the sectorial level.
Finally, your thoughts on the Sustainable Tourism Conference coming back, after a while because of COVID. How has it been, and your reflections?
Oh, I am impressed, really. I am totally impressed. I found the sessions this morning were quite informative, very insightful. Of course, Dr. Marcel is a tough act to follow, but the information is so rich, and I think this is my first CTO conference, but it has left quite an impression on me in terms of the level of organization and I think I might have said it to you or somebody else that the theme is such that it allows for all the key issues relating to the sector to be brought to the fore and discussed in a very meaningful way. So that would be my summary at this point, having gone through the last couple of hours, and I was happy I could contribute just a little bit to sing.